Hey there! Main Recap is back. Today we are continuing the series Dear Child. If you haven't watched the first part, please pause now and go watch it, as the story is continuing. If you can, please drop us a like and subscribe to keep us motivated. Episode 3 of Dear Child begins with the woman, previously referred to as Lena but now we know it's not her, waking up to find herself tied to a sink in what looks like a storeroom. The man comes in and calls her Lena. When she doesn't respond, he leaves and shuts the lights. At present, Ada argues with someone on the phone. She wants authorities to deal with the explosives as soon as possible. Benedict gets Hannah inside his clinic and she's allotted a room. She goes to sleep, but as soon as they leave, she gets up. After locking her door, she tells herself that she did everything exactly as she was told. Back to the past. The man comes back into the room and tells the woman she'll get water if she dyes her hair blonde. Pushed to her limits, the woman agrees. At present, Gerd sits by the woman and tells her how Lena got the scar on her hand. She was 10 and grabbed hot barbecue tongs at Gerd's birthday party. The flashback shows the man give the woman that exact same scar after dyeing her hair. As the explosives team do their work at the military field, Jonathan hides under his bed. The only object with him is a miniature model of a house. Aida gets ready to go in as soon as possible. She finds out that the mines definitely do not belong to the military. Karen goes home to find Matthias cleaning up Lena's old room for Hannah. He is adamant that Hannah is his granddaughter. Karen asks why Hannah recognized him, but Matthias gives vague answers. In the past, the woman wakes up in the living room. The man tells her about the house rules. She must stand with her hands out every time he enters. They even have set timings for the toilet. At present, she wakes up to find Gerd calming her down from her nightmare. She asks for the date, and her reaction reveals she was locked up for 5 months. The flashback shows the man introducing the woman to her children. He tells her she is Lena now, and he is her husband. They are a happy family. The SWAT team and their dogs can finally enter the military compound. One of the dogs finds something. Gerd gets a call from Ida. She thinks they found the house, but they don't know if there would be someone else inside with more explosives. The woman says that he would be inside, but she hit him with a snow globe. The team enters the house and Aida finds the body of the man, but his face is completely shredded. Gerd, still on the phone, tells her to look for the boy. The woman suggests the children's room, under the bed. Aida finds him. The woman tells them to tell Jonathan that he did everything right. She does so and Jonathan reaches out a hand towards Ada. The woman looks relieved that Jonathan is found. She reveals her name is Jasmine Grass from Dusseldorf. She says so despite the man's voice in her head. Her father's name is Ulrich Grass. Gerd leaves to get in touch with him. Ada walks out with Jonathan wrapped in her arms. Gerd comes back in to tell Jasmine that they are looking for her father. When Gerd reveals what was done to the man's face, Jasmine insists it wasn't her. She only hit him once with a snow globe. She screams that the snow globe broke before the doctor gives her a sedative. Gerd calls Karen and gives her the news. Matthias is hanging up a new swing in their garden. Karen says Gerd must find Lena. Jonathan is taken to Benedict's clinic. Somebody sitting inside a car watches him go inside. When Jonathan is brought inside Hannah's room, she quietly asks him if he told them about the baby, about Sarah. He shakes his head. A flashback shows the kids singing a carol for the man who's wearing a Santa Claus costume. He gives them gifts. Jonathan gets a snow globe with a small house and some trees inside it. Hannah gets a stuffed cat, Miss Tinky. The man reveals to the kids that Lena's gift is a baby. Gerd arrives at the location of the house and meets with Ada. Thanks to the mine debacle, Ada is going to be suspended. But Gerd agrees with her decision anyway. At the clinic, Jonathan's DNA swab is taken, and he, too, gets his own sunglasses. But when one of the workers opens the curtains, he throws the glasses away and runs to his bed. We then see a memory of Hannah and Lena running and playing on a beach. Inside the house, the team finds security cameras in the house, and somebody is still watching them. Gerd goes to the children's room and finds drawings on the underside of the bunk bed, a cat, a lighthouse, and Matthias and Karen's faces. A voiceover says that Hannah always wanted to hear stories about her grandfather and his garden full of flowers. Gerd sends a picture of it to Karen, explaining how Hannah recognized Matthias. Gerd walks through the house and pictures what kind of life they were living here. A flashback shows the man abusing Jasmine when she refused to go to the toilet at the set time. Another shows the kids reading books. When Jonathan asks Jasmine what happiness feels like, she hugs them to show how warm it should feel. Somebody finds the router connected to the cameras and unplugs it. The screens go off where the man was watching them. At the house, somebody finds that a bomb has been activated. He rings the alarms and everybody rushes out before the entire house blows up. Later, the coroner tells Gerd and Ada that the snow globe attack killed the man. But the other marks on his face were made post-mortem by a piece of glass that's missing from the remains of the snow globe. The missing piece is exactly the one Hannah gave Jasmine. He then reveals the DNA of this person does not match either of the children. Moreover, while the kids have the same mother, Lena Beck, they do not have the same father. So there isn't one nor two, but most likely three perpetrators. This is Jasmine during her regular life, getting dressed and leaving her house. She goes for a job interview at an advertising agency and seems to make a good impression. The man from the interview tells her she'll get a call the next day. In the parking lot, someone walks up behind her and attacks. Once she's subdued, he puts her in the trunk of a car. At present, Jasmine looks in a mirror and dabs ointment on her face. She still hears the man's voice in her head and has to shake herself out of it. Her father Ulrich enters and helps her pack. The doctor comes as well and tells her 14 days is too early to leave, but Jasmine insists she's fine. On the drive back home, her father talks about people Jasmine knows, but she isn't interested in hearing from them, even her ex-boyfriend Kai, who cheated on her. Her father asks her to come live with him, but she refuses. When he tries to bring up what happened to her, she says she doesn't want to talk about it. Gerd meets Ada in the forest near the house. They've found the remains of a person, more precisely a skull. The rest seems to have been consumed by wild boars. Karen Beck is driving when she hears a news report about the body. She calls Gerd for confirmation, but he tells her he doesn't know whether it's Lena yet. Ulrich drops Yasmin off at her apartment. Someone knocks on her door. It's a policeman from the area who informs her that they will be around in case she needs help. Jasmine tells her father she will be fine and goes upstairs. Somebody watches her from a car. In her apartment, she keeps hearing the man's voice. She then removes the shard of glass Hannah gave her and looks at it. Karen goes home to find Matthias, watching the news about the body found in the forest. She admits she thinks it's Lena. Matthias breaks down. Aida finds Gerd sitting on his own in the forest and tries to comfort him. She hands him a mock-up of what the dead man must have looked like. Aida thinks there are more perpetrators, but Gerd doubts the theory. When Aida ignores a call from a family member, Gerd advises her to not. When he leaves, Aida notices the strip of pills that fell behind. At Benedict's clinic, Hannah and Jonathan learn how to use the stairs. When Jonathan gets scared, Hannah whispers to him that he won't be able to come home with them once Dad comes to pick them up. He breaks down in tears, and Hannah once again tells herself she did all the right things. Nearby, a bespectacled boy in a wheelchair watches it all. Ruth visits Hannah and gives her a gift, a book titled Fairy Tales from 1001 Nights. They go outside to read, and Hannah shows the book to the nearby security camera, showing off her gift. Hannah tells Ruth that her grandfather visits every day and will take her home, not Jonathan though. When Ruth asks who Hannah was showing the book to, she says she was showing her father. He's watching through the camera to ensure they are following the rules. If they follow the rules, everything is fine. If you don't, you're punished. At her apartment, Jasmine waits till the clock strikes exactly 6 p.m. to eat her food. When Hannah goes back in, Ruth calls Ida. But somebody indeed seems to be watching from the camera. The coroner tells Ida and Gerd that the skull is not Lena Beck. It's another woman, but the hair tie she was wearing had a couple of Lena's hairs. This woman died 15 months ago. Jasmine was taken 5 months ago. The detectives gather that somebody else had to be there for the 10 months in between. They decide to search for other missing women. Ida thinks Gerd might be too close to the case. She gives him the pills she found and says she knows a friend who takes them. Gerd gives the news to Karen and Matthias. They assume that Lena is dead, seeing as she is the first of all these women. They're also frustrated that the perpetrator hasn't been identified. Gerd retaliates and describes the task force that has been relentlessly working. He shows Matthias the mock-up of the dead man, but he doesn't recognize him. Ruth comes back to her house to find that the electricity is out. When she flips all the switches in the fuse box, she hears a sound in another room. She goes to investigate. Jasmine wakes up at exactly 7 a.m. We see a flashback where the kids are hungry but are waiting for their father, who seems to be away for a while. Jasmine splits a chocolate bar between them and then plays pretend with them as if they're going on an airplane. Back in her apartment, Jasmine frantically dyes her hair brown. During breakfast, Matthias tells Karen that he's taken time off work. He tells Karen to meet Hannah, but Karen can't bear the thought of seeing her, much less living with her. She reminds her of Lena too much. Benedict and Aida come to see Hannah and Jonathan. Aida shows Hannah the mock-up of the dead man, and she says it's her father. But it turns out she calls all the men Aida shows her father. Aida asks if she was ever on her own, and Hannah says they were alone for 8 breakfasts, after which their mother came back again. Meanwhile, we see Nurse Ruth lying dead on the floor of her house. Jasmine's neighbor leaves groceries by her door. She says Jasmine's father left an envelope with money and a list. Jasmine opens the door to quickly grab them and then slams the door shut again. The bag is full of all the things she had back at the house, including the chocolate bars and the box of bleach. While meeting Hannah, Matthias asks her if Lena ever said anything about him. She says Lena told her they are the best grandparents there could be. Aida is alerted to Ruth's death. It looks accidental, but Ruth had tried getting in touch with Aida the day before, which makes her suspicious. So, Gerd goes to see Jasmine, who hides the bag of groceries. Gerd asks Jasmine if there is only one man or more. She insists there is only one. When Gerd shows her the reconstructed photo of the man, she remembers he's not the perpetrator, but the driver who hit her with his car. She remembers he was going to call her an ambulance, but then was struck from behind by somebody else. The voice in her head gets the better of her, and Jasmine lies to Gerd. She says he is the perpetrator. Meanwhile, the actual criminal is buying a new stuffed cat and a snow globe from a store. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our latest content. You can also give us a thumbs up if you liked what you saw.